Here is a 2024 Range Rover Velar Dynamic SE P250 in Fuji white over the new cloud over cloud interior. We get a refresh for the exterior and interior. And we have the dynamic handling package, upgraded wheels. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over the refreshments, the pros and cons, and some comparable rivals, starting in the fascia with reworked LED headlights and daytime runnings that integrate into the reworked grille, active grille shutter, and on the lower, you're getting the gloss black elements with clearance nearly 10 inches and almost 2 inches more fording depth through water at over 22 inches. So when you're thinking, well, this looks like a Range Rover Sport and a little bit of a smaller package, you can still conquer all of your all-terrain with this, and you don't have to option the HSE for the air suspension. You just option the package as I was stating in the beginning. Underneath the hood, a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged, producing 247 horsepower, 269 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, reaching 60 at 7.1 seconds and a top speed at 130 miles per hour. Achieving 22 mpgs for the city and 26 mpgs for the highway. 19-inch wheels is standard. We have upgraded 22-inch 10-spoke diamond finished wheels. Red brake calipers because of the dynamic handling package. All-wheel drive with intelligent driveline dynamics. Terrain response with selectable driving and off-road modes with hill launch assist, low traction launch, and hill descent control. Torque vectoring by braking, and taking this for your off-road trail, 174 pounds you can fit on top of the roof, with towing at nearly 5,300 pounds. LED taillights, the rear has been reworked with the lower bumper, no exhaust outlets for the Dynamic SE, front and rear parking sensors with a reverse camera. I like how they highlight everything in the back to match the front, and it keeps a sporty style all over the vehicle. Power liftgate going into 30.9 cubic feet. We have a storage nook on the side, 12-volt charger, some bag holders throughout with the privacy cover underneath the floor. Gets a spare tire, split fold the rear bench at a 40-20-40 split, increasing cargo to 62.9 cubic feet. It does have a little lip right here, but I like that it does this because it kind of keeps all of the items in your cargo inside. This is the P250. Let's go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Twelve-way power seat adjustment with the cloud over cloud interior, heated, ventilated memory for the driver. Headroom, legroom. Range Rover puts stainless steel pedals. It's pretty deep footwell and wide. Inside gets a refresh. It's going to start on the dashboard with the 11.4 floating infotainment screen that is found in all of the Land Rover vehicles now. Apple CarPlay, wireless, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. These are the quick wedges. And here you can go through your 4x4 information. You can also raise and lower the height adjustments. Slide it over so you can see all of the rest. Click into the 4 dots here. We're going to put it into reverse so you can see that it has a reverse camera with front and rear parking sensors, full trajectory. Click into the seat settings. This is going to be for the heated seat switches, which everything is now derived through the touchscreen infotainment. It does have a lot of different applications for your ride height, dimensions, and to do anything for your off-roading. Down through here is also reworked. When you open up, you have a wireless charging pad, an area for the key fob, USB gloss black is going to be surrounding, and it's going to be soft to touch on the gear lever, which is kind of like a palm holder. Back here, they open up individually. It's a pretty deep storage pocket, 2 USB ports. And you can also adjust these forward to clean up the whole center cluster in which the minimalistic look comes into play. The dashboard stays simple with a heads-up display, auto-dimming rear view mirror, a large pano moonroof, 3-spoke steering wheel, multi-function with adaptive cruise control, and to make it more minimalistic, it's multi-functionality for the buttons for the digital reader that you can change out the whole display layout. So you could have the 2 dials, you can do 1 dial, you can also configure and change all of the information on the dials to make it a little bit more user-friendly for the driver. And the door panels configure into the dash with the same segment that's found throughout the car. One touch up and down for all the windows. It's going to be more sporty, and I like the contrast that goes in between with the Meridian sound system and a medium-sized storage pocket. For the back seats, headroom is not an issue, nor is leg space, and this is in the seat position that I was sitting. Storage behind both of the front seats, air vents, USB, and a 12-volt. The floor is not completely flat, which we'll see in a second. Armrests with cup holders. The door is going to have the same materials that's found in the front. The only difference is the storage pocket is a little bit smaller. Sliding over to the center, the rails are still not pushed back enough, so you're going to be sharing some feet space. Butt and shoulder space will also be shared, but headroom for somebody that's over 6 foot is not going to be a problem. The 2024 Range Rover Velar getting some refresh on the exterior and on the interior, which I like what I see, because they have been keeping the Velar fresh through its whole life. It came out back in 2018. The powertrain is a carryover from last year, but I like the simplicity of the interior, and they do the same thing on the exterior. Getting the dynamic handling package also gives you basically an HSE without paying the premium in price. You're not getting the 3.0 inline turbo 6, but this is still a pretty decent amount of power. 0 to 60, 7.1 seconds for the P250. And really, you're buying this for the all-terrain and for a smooth, luxurious ride. So how is 247 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque? Well, let me know what you think. It does what it needs to do. Sound deadening is good, even though we have upgraded wheels. The standard wheel will be a little bit more quiet, but because we have the dynamic handling package, it's still going to be smooth. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with what I like is how Range Rover keeps making this a fresh vehicle. Typically, when you're getting in these price categories, the vehicles will take about 4 to 6 years to get anything refreshed, or an infotainment screen might take 10 years. So I like that they're doing this, keeping a minimalistic look in the interior and doing the same thing on the exterior. The sound deadening is good. It has great depth. When you want to go off on a trail and go through some water, you could afford up to over 22 inches. Almost 2 inches more because we have the air suspension. But on a con, I wish they had an option that you could remove the carpet like a Bronco, so whenever you are doing anything for your all-terrain, you're not going to dirty the interior. Another con, no pass-through, and this whole center has been refreshed, and there's a little bit less storage capacity than it was before. But on a Pro, I like the 11.4 Pivi Pro that's curved screen. It fits more flush on the dash, and you don't have to spend an extra few $1,000s to get that small screen on the lower area here for your climate control or any of the dynamics. The disadvantage is every single thing is now done through the Pivi Pro. Climate control, everything, which can take a little bit of a learning curve only because you have to look off the road to actually push the buttons. It's a large enough screen that you can kind of sort of gauge where things are, and the steering wheel keeps the minimalistic look, also using a multi-function for the steering wheel, which is a little bit more intuitive than most of the rivals. But on the con, the gauge cluster still processes a little bit slower than my liking. But for the everyday drive, I mean, it's not going to be anything crazy, but it will be motivated to move. Going against the rivals like the Bronco, this is going to be more luxury. It's not going to be as much performance. Fording depth and towing is good. It's pretty much right on the level for the price that it's at. And turn radius is going to get about 2 in a part lane. Let's rock and roll. Now, the only thing that I will stress is you will be hitting about 3 RPMs everywhere you go, and that's derived because it's a smaller engine, and when you sit at idle, you can still feel some of the vibrations. Now, taking it on some twisty roads, it is top heavy. It's not something that's dynamically good for that. It will feel a little bit more boaty, but you're expecting that because it's a lot more smooth of a drive. Just one of those cars that you can set the adaptive cruise control and relax for a long journey. The seat cushions in the Range Rover is a lot better than anyone in its price category. They don't have cushion extensions, but they don't actually really need it because the seats are long enough. And the cushion to it is also more soft. I would like to see more power seat adjustments because we are over $70,000, but a lot of the increase in price is also because we have a few packages and these upgraded wheels, which I would entertain the dynamic handling package because you also get the red brake caliper, so you're not just getting a air suspension, but you're getting a few other components with it. The 22-inch wheels, I like the setup. It looks a lot more flashy than the standard 19-inch, and if you're comparing it to any other rival in its category for price, like Germans, it's going to be better for off-roading. Comparing it to Lexus, this is going to be a little bit more quiet. It feels together more so in the sense that there's not a lot of hard plastics. And you can do the same terrain as them with more luxury. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Land Rover of Lakeland for giving us this 2024 Range Rover Velar for our car review.